11 kilometers per second is known as the escape velocity. It is the amount of force or speed that one must travel in order to escape the Earth's gravity. And so the reason I use that term is because in order to soar, to become a star, to reach out into the heavens, you have to escape the forces that bear you down. The biggest of which is fear of judgment of others, and then our addiction to comfort. In this YouTube channel, what I do is I discuss the things that must be done for us to reach our potential. Hello everyone, Mac Ardina here for 11 kilometers per second, where we give you the tools that are necessary to help you activate your superpower. Today I want to talk about what the biggest impediments to your superpower is, to realizing and fully deploying at full strength your superpower. So I would say that one of those impediments to your superpower is, so Superman, his weakness is kryptonite. So what I like to say is that comparison is our kryptonite. And unlike superheroes, where it's supposed to be a select few people who have these skills, Superman being someone who is not even human. This is why I prefer X-Men in terms of describing what we do, because I believe we all have unique talents that are our own superpowers. And the issue is that because it is not just a few people, there are going to be others that have similar abilities. And I say similar because it may be a core talent. So a lot of people are fast, a lot of people can jump high, but there is something that's always slightly unique. There is a fingerprint of sorts for talent that allows us to convey it either to our own audience, our own select audience, and everyone needs to hear things in the way that resonates with them, or see things in a way that resonates with them, so it connects to our own audience. And what's more is the stories that are there to tell. And what I say by stories, I don't necessarily mean spoken word, but like everything that we are doing, every part of creation is a story that we are telling. We're human beings that live by stories. This is why you can go and look at a piece of art and you can interpret what the meaning is. You could go in and look at a sunset and interpret what the meaning is and what was behind it. So it's a story. It is a creation. It is what we are on earth to do, is to create and continue to create as our Creator has done. Be like God, as they say in Christian texts, and be like Jesus, as they say in Christian texts. Be like God, made in His image is the term that I'm looking for. And so in His image, if we are performing in His image, that means we are creators as well. And so we are all telling a story. And we can do that with our talent. We can do that with words. Words are the ability to speak is definitely a talent. But in any case, there are a lot of people with that core talent, but we tell it in such a unique way. We present our version of the story in such a unique way that it speaks to the truth in a way that resonates with people, in a way that helps to inspire and lead and to further the whole creation cycle. So what happens is, because we all have this superpower and it's not just one unique person, we are looking to see that, a lot of us are looking to see that, whatever it is that we do have, whatever skills that it is, it has to be the only person that has it. And so when we run into people who have similar talents, or that doesn't even have to be limited to talents, like it's something that we do, because truthfully there is very little ways for us to measure ourselves in isolation. Meaning, what do I mean by that? Meaning, you can't have a metric that isn't based on something else. What the hell do I mean by that? All right, let me see if I can put it in simple terms. All right, if you are, well, let's say you're running and you're trying to get faster. One of the easiest ways to determine whether you're trying to get faster is to measure against yourself, right? Like what I did yesterday, that's a comparison. So you may have a baseline. Your metric is, the first time I ran here is how fast I ran 100 meters. The next day I come in and I try to do it and I run it much faster. So you're comparing yourself to yourself. Now that's all good and great. You can say I'm improving, but you can't necessarily tell yourself whether or not you're improving, or how you rate in comparison to everybody else. Maybe you're running it fast for you, but is it actually fast? Maybe you're the slowest person in the world or the fastest person in the world, but you don't know exactly where you stand. And so one of the ways that we are able to tell, you know, I guess objectively whether or not we're fast or slow is to have some standard of measurement that can say here's what's normal, here's what's not normal. Who's an outlier. If you think about like the hell do they call that thing? I'm drawing a blank. The curve, that curve where most people fall somewhere in the middle, and you have your outliers on both sides. So shoot, standard. No. In any case, yes, that's messing with me. But in any case, this is how you're able to say, here's what is, I guess, normal or common or ordinary, whatever it is that you want to call it. But in any case, so we have a group of people that remain normal because they are normal, because they are comparing themselves to another. And as a result, there are people with various different levels of talent, but also more importantly than anything else, and anyone who has made it to any level of greatness will tell you, willingness to work hard will beat talent out every time. So you may have varying levels of talent, but if you're not willing to hone your skill or your talent, you're definitely not going to get to the level of outlier. Malcolm Gladwell talks about in his book called Outlier the requirement that is 10,000 hours. I mean, there's a whole bunch of other factors, but the commonly known factor is 10,000 hours of honing those talents in order for you to become an outlier. But what happens is we get to the comparison piece where we see another person at various different stages of honing their talent, or maybe not necessarily honing it, but having innate built-in talents that makes them a certain way. And as a result, we stop we stop trying to hone our talent. We are convinced we are I guess we begin to doubt. We're thwarted by this belief that we can actually become as good as we wanted to be if we're willing to put in the time. We're like, oh man, this guy's so good. Here's the standard I'm going to live up to. This guy is so good that I must not be, this must not be what I'm meant to do, or this must not be my talent. Who knows? Maybe it's not what you want to do, but truthfully, I think there are a lot of times when we do know what moves us. We do know when we are at our most comfortable, when we're most ease, and when we are at our most, confident selves, and others can see it. We know how well we do. And when we do recognize that, instead of taking it and comparing it to someone else and saying, well, mine is not that good, and then being thwarted and letting doubt sink in, doubt will sink all your dreams if you allow it to. And so instead of letting doubt sink in, instead of allowing what we do as social beings to get that comparison and say, well, we're not good enough, we should take any person who exhibits the same level of talent as potential mentors, and not necessarily even in the traditional sense, like asking to be a mentor, but a mentor in the way of being able to learn from them. being able to see, oh, here are some pieces that I like with what he is doing. I'm going to adopt that. Instead of seeing it and becoming threatened by it, instead we could see it and be inspired by it. Here's somebody who's doing it the way that I want to do it. And, if you want to, and I recommend it, go ahead and, befriend that person, get as much from that person as you can. This is how you're going to sort of feed off of their energy, kind of like if we're using X-Men, like a rogue who's able to take other people's superpowers. In this case, it's going to be from your own group of people that have similar superpowers, that you're going to be able to feed off their energy and learn from them and help yourself to hone your skills. So never see that as as something that is threatening your power, but as something that can help enhance it. And what's more, like we talked about, like I just said, you have to hone your superpowers. There is no X-Men who comes in and already has full use of their powers. They all have to go in and continue to use it and continue to enhance their powers, in order for them to become at, the level of superpower that they ultimately will be at. And so that's the issue. If you get intimidated, instead of going back out and using your superpowers, even though it's not at the level where you want it to be, the level where it's going to be, you have to actually go in and use your superpower in order to get it to that point. And so you cannot let comparison. I think that's the biggest piece. We go in and we're like, oh, here's the standard and this person is doing it so much better. Or here's the standard and I'm not doing it at that standard. Comparing either to yourself or to someone else, you're going to be hit with some big kryptonite. That's what's going to take you down. And again, this is like, this is a, it's a human thing. It's part of us being social beings. We're moved by pain and pleasure. And in order to, first and foremost, like you're born and you can't take care of yourself, right? A baby can't take care of himself. So it's not like we can just go in and not have that attachment. We have to be weaned. We have to be with someone who, will take care of us. So that's already creating a bond. That bond is helping to do two things. It's giving us the tools of fear of judgment, which allows us to conform and do some good things, but comes with the side effect of not actually going in and fulfilling our dreams for fear of being judged in a certain way. This is part of what is happening with comparison. It also gives us this attachment, like we are attached to people. This is what love is from, or we get that attachment. And so this is why we are social beings. So these are two things. One is a beautiful pleasurable thing that we get. Oxycodone is released when we feel that level of attachment. That's sort of like a bonding neurochemical. And then there is that fear of judgment, which is, I would put into the pain area, that causes us to conform and not go off on our own and be lone wolves. But it also causes us to compare ourselves with one another and fear not being as good, as opposed to being inspired and going in and honing what is a superpower, which that after you have mastered it, you're going to add your story to it, your version, your vision, and your perspective to it. And that's what causes you to be unique, and that's what causes your genius. You have to find it, you have to hone it, and then after that you have to let people see it. You have to express it, and that's how you are going to accomplish your genius, activate your superpower, and prevent comparison from being the kryptonite that holds you down. So this is what I do. I have a life and business coaching business, and as a business attorney for many years and practicing for over 15 years as an MBA who has consulted with multiple businesses, what I realize is that there are multiple things that are holding companies from growing. There is and the biggest of them is the competence of the entrepreneur. A company can only be as great as the entrepreneur is. This is why it's important a lot of times who the CEO is that's running the organization. And so, you know, a company can be only be as big. No, a company can only be as great as the entrepreneur is. This is why whenever it is that you get in a great CEO, they will, you know, they will determine the trajectory, they will determine the success of a company. And so, what I have found from doing a lot of consulting is that a lot of entrepreneurs are not at the level that they need to be. They don't have the skills or experience. They don't have the character trait sometimes, and more often than not, they do not have the belief in themselves. They haven't activated their superpower. They don't believe in their superpower. So what I do in my life and coaching business is help you to activate your superpower, help you to understand and believe in yourself so that you can go out and do what's necessary to learn the skills, what's necessary to, behave in a way that is going to ultimately mean success for your business. Obviously, the character trait, the discipline, those are things that you have to work on as well. But a lot of times you can have a lot of success. Thank you for watching. My name is Mac Audina, and this is 11 kilometers per second, a life and business coaching practice where I help you activate your superpower and become the entrepreneur that is going to make you as wildly successful as you know you can be. I have been a business attorney and a business consultant for many years where I've helped many organizations reach their success. And what I have found is that most businesses are held back by the level of skill and competence of the entrepreneur. And there are three different ways that an entrepreneur can grow. That is in skills, character trait, and belief. And what I have found is that a lot of people have come in with a lot of skills. They have the good character trait and the discipline, but they do not believe in themselves. They do not believe that they are the entrepreneur that is making hundreds of millions of dollars for their business. And this is what I help you do. I help you to activate that superpower. And then once you are that person, we can also help you build the skills that are necessary to sell your company as well. Come join me. Click at the link below and sign up for a consultation call. Hope to hear from you soon. Let's go make money together.